think I have two different artists living inside me. One is the sexual erotic artist, and the other one is a bit more dark.
Rene Farias is a Cuban artist known for his unique style that blends classical mythology with contemporary artistic techniques. His work explores themes of transformation, identity, and the mythological archetypes that shape human experiences. Farias uses color, intricate detailing, and surreal compositions to create a dreamlike atmosphere that draws viewers into his narrative worlds. His art is heavily inspired by mythology, especially Greek and Latin American myths, which he reinterprets through a queer lens. His compositions often depict figures in symbolic situations surrounded by rich, otherworldly landscapes. Farias's work can be compared to contemporary mythological painters, but always with a distinctly personal and modern touch. And now, I'm honored to welcome Rene Farias today as we dive into his creative process, the stories behind his most captivating pieces, and how he's redefining mythology for a new generation. Rene, welcome to Art in the Raw. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
It's
joining
a pleasure
us.
to be here.
Looking forward to the discussion. So tell me a little bit about the first time mythology captivated you. There's a lot of mythology in your art. When did that first inspire you to put it in your art?
Well, I remember when I was a child, I used to paint a lot of unicorn. I was fascinated by unicorn. I was and by mermaids too. So I started to using them in my. I wouldn't say my art because I was like 7 years old, so it was some kind of kid drawings. But then I grow up and I still fascinated with those themes. And also I remember I have many books with painters of big masters, like Tiziano and Bouguereau, and I was fascinated by how they use mythologies in their work. So I want to do something like that with my work, and also that allowed me to create my own universe, where I can explain my feeling, my thought using that.
I love that. It's a beautiful metaphor. Is there a particular mythological story that that kind of changed how you see the world, that just really connected with you? One in particular?
I'm fascinated by mermaids. So for me, trying to imagine that there is a whole world that needs to be discovered under the sea. It's like a new beginning. When everything in the earth forgot, we can go under the sea and start again, because there's a completely universe down there waiting to be discovered. And I love to think that there are beautiful men and women down there waiting for us. So yeah.
Did the mermaid story first inspire you as a child? Growing up?
I remember I was reading a book telling the story of how mermaids became, was like a mythology Greek story. There was this beautiful woman that helped in hope, I don't know how to say that in English. Well, the god of the dead kidnapped the daughter of the mother Earth. So she punished those women became mermaids. So I was fascinated by that. It's like a kind of a punishment. So that was the first time that I get involved with that word.
So I'm curious how growing up in Cuba influenced that, being an island country and surrounded by the sea. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
I don't think so, actually. No. Actually, funny funny detail, I don't like the sea.
Oh,
I mean,
but you
I
love
don't like
mermaids.
I don't like go to the beach. I don't like the sun. I don't like the sand. I prefer go to the pool, but I love mermaids. But in Cuba, no, not really. When I was a child, art in Cuba was and still really involved with politics. So I hate politics, and I don't want to make politics um for big display. I mean,
Gotcha.
exactly. And also, my feelings with the government in Cuba are not in the same level, and I don't want to be part of that role. So,
Understood. Do you think that influenced your work at all growing up in Cuba?
I was influenced. I mean, Cuba is a really, really, really rich country about culture because we have influence from African lands and from Europe lands and from China and from England. And we have a mix of different cultures there.
Uh-huh.
But also the Yoruba religion is really rich in Cuba. And that I think the Yoruba religion is the most significant part of Cuba culture in my art.
How do you think being a gay man influences how you interpret mythology?
Oh, it's amazing because most of the mythology themes are naked people. And as a gay man, what is the best way to do with naked men? So for me, it's funny, it's erotic, it's sexual, and sensual at the same time. And it's really easy for me. I mean, draw naked people is like my full day.
Your passion.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like anatomy, and I really like raw skin and different skin colors and different body types. And mythology and gay are really combined. That
I believe you're right with that. So your art has this very distinct kind of ethereal, otherworldly quality to it because of the mythology, obviously. But what techniques do you use to achieve that?
well, most of the time I work with watercolor, but also oil painting.
Uh-huh.
The problem is, I think I have two different artists living inside me.
Hmm.
One is the sexual erotic artist, and the other one is a bit more dark. So for watercolor, I like to explore. I like to work with the erotic one.
Uh-huh.
So it's a completely different universe when I work with watercolor, or the color, the textures, the subjects too. But when I use oil painting, I like to be more classic, but in the dark way. I like the high contrast between lights and shadows, and I like really touching themes. And also, I think I use more oil painting for social critiques and watercolor more for um, sexual demons, my internal sexual demons.
So tell me about the social critiques. What social critiques are you talking
Well,
about in your art?
most of the times I'm really involved with the cause of my people in Cuba, with
Uh-huh.
the freedom of my country. So that's what I really focus when I try to make social critique. I believe each artist has a really strong power if you know how we use it to communicate and to let it know people from around the world using social media what's happening. And sometimes it's important that people know the truth that our people are living. So I try to help using my work, using my art. But also I am sometimes I use social critique too with watercolor more, but more focuses on the gay community.
Mhm.
Focus on the themes like people living with HIV and all the rejects that they suffer.
Mhm.
Also, all the taboos. I don't know how to say how to say in English taboo. Taboo is I don't.
Taboo. Yep, taboo is
Yeah,
right.
all the taboos around the sexuality, and also all the silence that queer artists are suffering on social media.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, in conclusion, with watercolor, my social critique are more for my gay community. I mean, um, queer community in general, and with oil painting, more for my Cuban people.
Okay. Um, how do you think your artistic process has evolved over time? You say you use watercolor and oils. Did you start with one and move towards the other?
I started using charcoal. Was the first time, the
Uh-huh.
first medium that I started using. I still using it, but not often. Then I started using oil painting, and I was really focused with oil paintings. But then COVID arrived. I I um, I wa- I was moved to Barcelona. I was living in Barcelona when COVID arrived, and then everything was closed. It's just el confinamiento. Everybody have to stay at home,
Yep.
so
Confinement.
confinement. So, and I start watching videos on TikTok, and because we don't have TikTok in Cuba. Um, So I was living in Spain, started watching video on TikTok, and a girl come out doing watercolor and was really, really, really good. How she blend the colors and how all the soft transition from one color to another. And onto that, I mean, I never studied art before.
So you're totally
So
self-taught.
yeah, so onto
Amazing.
that moment, I thought that I can only obtain that soft transition with oil painting. But seeing that girl doing that, I say to myself, I want to do that. I want to do the same thing. So I start doing watercolor in 2020, trying to get onto that girl level. So I start working every day. I start learning about different papers and different brands, and that's how my work get evolved. So my first watercolor was in 2020.
Nice. Can you walk us through a couple of the paintings that you have on the wall behind you? I love
Yeah,
the one over your left shoulder, the triptych, the three
this man.
men and in front
Uh,
of the fire.
yeah, let me
That's
let
very
me
beautiful.
let me see this so you get it better. Yeah, that's one is Coven. That's what I was telling you. With my oil painting, it's a bit more dark themes.
Huh? I
Like
see that.
witches, demons, and also pain, grieving, mournings. So yeah, more in a classic way, but yeah, really strong themes. I like that.
And tell us about the one above that. It looks like there's a man in the water, the green, that one.
There,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I was telling you that I was really inspired by many artists, but most of them are Caravaggio. That you can see the influence of
Oh yeah, you could
Caravaggio in my
definitely see
painting. Yeah,
that.
the really, really high contrast between light and shadow. And the other one was Bouguereau. So Bouguereau, the way he painted the skin so soft was amazing, and the movement that he with the clothes and everything. And he made these four paintings. I mean, the twilight, the night, the day, and the ones that I don't know how to say in English. So this one is the most that I like. Obviously, it's a woman, but I want to recreate it with myself because I don't want to make a copy of the painting. I want to make like a how do I say homenaje, tribute?
A tribute. Yeah.
Yeah, a tribute to the painter. So I paint to myself, and yeah, that's one of my last oil paintings, and I really, really, really like it. Also, I found the frame on the trash, So I say I need to do a painting of this side for this frame because it's really amazing. So you can find really amazing things on the trash
You can
sometimes.
say shit.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you are in that painting, that you used yourself as a model. And following your social media, I noticed that a lot of times you will show your process of taking a photo of yourself or someone
Reference photo.
else
Yeah.
as a reference photo. Talk us through that process and how you use that to come up with your ideas for your paintings, and then take the photos to as the
Hmm.
model.
Well, all is about social media. When I used to start painting, I I tell this to everybody. It's okay to use reference. I mean, people think that artists can paint from imagination, and you can do, but if you use a reference, you can get a better point of view of light, shadows, contrast,
Hmm.
muscles, and everything. And when I start, I remember I used to have like no more than 2,000 followers on Instagram. Right now, I have like, the numbers on English are really hard for me. But what I
Say it
have,
in
I have,
Spanish. Okay.
but I used to have so low followers in Instagram, and I never post any of my paintings before because I used to paint, for hobby. But and then I start seeing photos on Pinterest and Twitter, and I like the photos, and I use the photos for reference. And that went well until I start getting more followers. And when I start getting more followers, I, I start getting more views. And sometimes the people of the photo get noticed that I used those photos for a painting. And most of the time they are really happy with that. But there are some people at that moment that get really mad because I have to ask him before, and that's true. But I mean, that was a picture that I found on the internet. I didn't know how to contact you. So from that moment, I decide when I don't have the permission to use some photo, I start to use myself as a reference. And also, it's easier. I mean, I can put myself in the the pose that I really want for a painting,
Yeah.
and I
Get
really
it just the
like.
way you like it, and then
Exactly,
yeah.
and adjusted the light so that the way that I want to be in the painting, and it's a really enjoyable process from the idea and then to a sketch and then to take the pictures and then um, sometimes when I get lucky I get involved my husband too, but he don't really like to take photos, but yeah, it's really nice. Sometimes I want to work with models. It's a good.
Uh-huh. Models.
Okay, yeah, but when I want to paint right now, right away. I mean, if I have an idea, I need to work on that idea because then another idea came and that idea before was
Goes
forgotten.
away.
So exactly. So when I want to paint something, I just have to get to work. And if I have to call for a model to come home to arrange a day for a photo shoot or something, it's too complicated
You've
for
lost
me.
the inspiration at
Exactly,
that point.
exactly. And so I decide to take a photo myself. Sometimes I paint myself. Other times I just take a photo and then I change my face or change some other elements, for not all the time being myself the subjects.
Hmm.
But I love to paint myself. It's really easy for me.
Well, you make a beautiful model, so why not?
Thank you.
Um, let's talk a little bit about kind of challenges and risks. Has anyone challenged you or complained that you shouldn't use mythology to convey queerness?
Not really. I mean, I found that there is many, many, many people that really like mermaids. I didn't know. I didn't have idea about that. They really like all these. I mean, until now, nobody complained about using mythology.
Mythology.
I have complained about using religious elements, because I love the symbolisms. It's okay. Is it good?
Symbolism?
Yeah, symbolism. And sometimes I use Catholic symbolism or Islamic symbolism. And sometimes, yeah, people get upset. I think they don't understand the message because I really do it with respect. I never paint something mocking of any religion. But, for the world being world, there have to be people with all kind of reactions.
Yeah.
But with mythology, no. People always want more, I think.
I think mythology can sometimes be generally accepted, whereas specific
Exactly.
religions can be a little triggering for some people.
Exactly.
Uh,
And also, I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, go ahead.
Um, in the Middle Age, people used they, I think it's Middle Age. Well, people used to use mythology themes to paint naked people because on that era, that time, that wasn't allowed. But if you say that you were painting a mythology themes with people, I mean, not completely naked, but showing more skin that allow it, was like, they use that pretext. And I think today, when you paint naked man, because that's the most thing I paint, naked man, and I say, it's like a mythology themes. I mean, I'm also in some Facebook groups, and sometimes people are more receptive when our mythology themes with naked man, that if you paint a naked man, just to paint the
Just a
naked
naked
man.
man.
Exactly.
It's more accepted if it's mythology than if it's
Exact.
just a simple picture of a naked man.
Exactly. And I want to be clear. I don't paint for being accepted. I don't care what people say. It's just a detail to add.
Yeah, I love that. You don't care what people say.
Yeah.
I think artists shouldn't. And early in my photography career, I was worried about how a photo I printed would be received. And my photography mentor looked at me and said, "Oh, you're still in that phase where you're worried about what people think about your art." And that stuck with me.
Well, I think
Is
I think all the artists have to pass through that phase,
oh,
and then
agreed.
we evolve.
Is there a particular piece that you've created that kind of was a breakthrough piece for you, one that really marked a change in how you approached your art?
Well, I mean, it's difficult. It's a tough question because each piece is really important for me. But oh my God. Well, I'm working in this piece right now. Let me show you. Um, and
Wow.
this is really touching for me because it's the reality of most of my people in Cuba that get into the sea trying to looking for freedom, and sometimes they die on the sea. So this is really touching, a really
Yeah,
touching piece for me. Yeah, so I think this is the most, yeah.
that looks very powerful. Um, if you could have well, this is an interesting question I had written down, but given our conversation around the mythology, I'm wondering how pertinent the question is. If you could have one of your pieces placed in a historical setting, like a museum or a temple, where would it be? And I guess, how does the mythology play in your answer to that question?
Well, if I have to choose one, I definitely would choose this one here,
Uh-huh.
or this one here in the middle. Um, I'm really happy with this result, and I I'm really into all that mythology thing about coven and witches and Salem and um I think the wishmen are witchcraft. How do I say when a witch is a man? And
Sometimes people say warlock for a
okay,
man who
yeah,
is a witch.
yeah, and yeah, I like the idea of men naked dancing around a fireplace and free in the forest, and yeah, and yeah, I think this uh mark a before and after of me as a working with oil painting and mythology themes.
Is there a myth that you haven't tackled yet that you're excited to explore?
I mean, what is a myth?
Is there a myth or a mythology that you haven't
Um,
tackled that you're
well,
excited to?
maybe. I mean, I really try to explore everything, and I'm 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 trying to find new theme and subjects every day. But I mean, mythology is really uh, I mean, obviously there all these China's mythology with all the demons and everything, and the Nordic mythology too. So I want to war with that too.
I would love to see that,
Yeah,
like an Asian mythology built
yeah,
into.
that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. What's next for Renee?
Um, I'm really trying to make more expos. I really enjoy the feeling. I mean, funny detail. I used to live in Spain for like 4 years,
Hmm.
and I never do an expo. And I'm going to speak from my experience. So from my experience, it's really complicated to get opportunity as an artist in Spain.
Interesting.
It's really complicated to get into a gallery. It's really complicated to sell pieces. And people like art, but I don't know. From my experience, I never do an expo, and I text to many galleries and many locals. I mean, restaurant. I even want a gallery for a restaurant or a cafe or something. And yeah, it was really complicated. And since I arrived to the United States, especially to Miami, many doors were open. I mean, the opportunities for artists here in Miami are insane, and people are really open to help you. Um, I really enjoyed the feeling of show your work and people came to your place, and you can see in their eyes that they are really liking what they are seeing, and they asking you about how do you create this, how, what do you want to say with this, and speak with the public, with the potential clients. I really like that, so I'm really focused on do more shows, and I'm really focused on someday get into Provincetown to show in
Mm.
Provincetown. So I really want to go there. Um, but well, I only have 1 year here in the United States. So
You'll get there. I have faith. All right. So to close out our discussion, let's turn up the heat and get to some real raw truth.
okay,
These are 10 questions made famous by James Lipton on Inside the Actors Studio, and they've been slightly updated for queer artists. So you ready?
great.
What is your favorite artistic medium or tool?
Oil painting.
Oil painting. What artistic trend or cliche do you wish would disappear?
Well, many people would hate me for that, but I don't really like abstract art.
That's fair. That's fair. I I have my own opinions. Some of it
Okay.
I like, some of it I don't. Um, what fuels your creativity the most?
I don't understand.
Um, what feeds your creativity? What makes your creativity?
Music,
explode. Music.
definitely music. Yeah. Sometimes I'm listening to music, I'm listening to a song, and uh, uh, um there is a small phrase inside the song, or a word or a lyric, and that inspired me to create something.
Interesting. So the
And all,
next,
I'm sorry, and also poetry. I love poetry, and I love dark poetry, and I love Edgar Allan Poe. So that's why I create this based on the Raven, the famous poem, the Raven.
oh,
So yeah, so
I
music and
love that.
poetry.
So what sound or noise instantly inspires you as soon as you hear it?
Um,
Music.
the Scooby Doo team.
Scooby-Doo team.
Yeah, I love. I mean, if I can turn on the camera, but when in my studio, I paint in front of the TV, and I need to have cartoons on the TV.
I love that.
Yeah, and
I
I
still love
didn't watch the
cartoons
cartoon.
till I die. I'm
Yeah,
gonna love
yeah.
cartoons.
So I need cartoon. Yeah,
What sound or noise completely kills your focus?
repetitive noise. I don't know if I say right.
Repetitive? Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, I can work with noise. I don't have problem with that. But when it's, I mean, if I don't know how to say. Well, water is leaking.
Or like
Um,
a drip?
exactly, and exactly in 3 minutes, in three seconds, you will hear the same click, click, click. But in the exactly time period, that's insane for me. I can work with that.
That drives me crazy
Yeah,
too.
yeah. If they leak and then pass 3 minutes and then 4 minutes and then 1 minute, I don't have problem. The problem with me is the exactly time period
Mm.
that the song repeat. I don't like that.
What's your favorite word or phrase to include in your work somehow? Like either literally writing it in or metaphorically.
You have to be happy with what you're doing or what you're doing. You have to love what you're doing.
I love that. If you could see any queer artist, living or dead, honored with a major public monument, who would it be?
Well, I have two. I have Norman Rockwell. It's not queer, but I think their style is really hard in the way I do. And the other one is Tom of Finland.
Mm, I love Tom's work. What is one profession or creative field you could never see yourself in?
Working with the public, working face to public. I mean, I always smile, but my angry line is really small. And sometimes if the client don't have it is wrong, and I'm gonna tell you it's wrong. And yeah, I don't like to yeah.
If your art could become an animal or take on life, what form would it take?
I think it would be a cat.
Cat?
Yeah, because cat can be mysterious, but also can be sexy, but also can be uh, furious, but also can be farouche, and also yeah. I think cats are many things. Cat is like a really small demon dressing
Uh-huh.
like a really nice guy. Yeah.
I think you've described every cat I've had. A really small demon.
I have two cats, so I know what I'm talking about.
And then finally, 100 years from now, what do you hope your art says about you to those who find it in the future?
I only want the people still talking about me. Good or bad, I don't really care. I just want to be remembered. I that's my main purpose in life, being remembered. I don't want to go from this world and in 10 years nobody say my name anymore.
Well, I think the mythology and the beautiful work that you have will ensure that for a very long time.
Ah, thank you. I really hope.
Renee, I've really enjoyed talking with you. This has been a
Me
great
too.
conversation. I'm looking forward to seeing what work you've got coming forward, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what galleries you start showing up in.
Yeah, I will keep you updated with that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. And rather